iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350. If you're ready to hit the track in the iRacing Ford FR500S Mustang, then sign up for the Barber Ford Mustang Club today. With great prizes from our awesome sponsors, this league is fast, fun, and best of all, free to race in. Take on 6 races of wheel-to-wheel action, all broadcasted live on Pit Stop TV. As a member, you will receive a $500 voucher to Barber Ford, plus entry into a raffle for a brand new Fanatec H-pattern shifter. Every point you earn on the track is 1 entry into the raffle, meaning you can race your way into a brand new Fanatec shifter drawn on December 15th. Battle your competitors at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Watkins Glen, Road Atlanta, Barber Motorsports Park, Brands Hatch, and for the finale, Lime Rock Park. Join the Barber Ford Mustang Club at League ID 3350 today.
World renowned for scenic views and tough corners, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps is always a fan favorite, a racer favorite. You would be hard pressed to find an official iRacing series that goes road racing that does not visit Spa at least twice a year. This place is in everybody's mind, it seems like, year in, year out, season in, season out. And while the community rep known as Austin Knight might not prefer Spa, so many drivers do, and there is good reason. It is such a rewarding circuit when you get it right. It is a punishing circuit when you get it wrong. It is the classic test of man versus racetrack, and we're here this evening beginning week number 5 for Production Car Challenge. Once again, community rep Austin Knight is with me. Love to have you here, Austin, really do. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and welcome back to Pit Stop TV. This is kind of a rare situation where we're doing this kind of for the second time this evening. We're not just coming back in from a week-long break. It's an hour break, and we're right back to it here, Austin. But good to have you. Just like an hour, or I guess 2 hours ago, Spa is definitely a fun track. We were talking about it all through that Silverstone race. It is a little bit of a juxtaposition, just like Silverstone for these cars. But it is, again, I think the most redeeming quality about Spa is it is very rewarding when you get it right.
I love how I was introduced and immediately made a villain.
Well, you know, somebody has to be.
Yeah, I guess it's me, and I will not hold anything back today, I guess. But yeah, Spa, it's very rewarding. I would have to say, in a car that doesn't have draft. If you can break away freely from a car that is famously draft heavy, it is going to be rewarded because they will not be able to catch you. That's what I'm leaving it there. That's how I view this track. I just view it as, in these cars, I view this track as a draft fest.
And you know, I think there's some similarities in. You have to, roll with me here. Let me talk for a second, because otherwise it might not make a whole lot of sense. I think there's some similarities between Daytona and Spa, because you have the long on throttle periods of this lap, and Blanchimont in certain cars splits it up. I'm not sure how these guys will fare through turn 17 here today, but if you're able to run flat through Eau Rouge and Raidillon, especially, you're on throttle from La Source all the way to Lacombe, and even if you have to lift over Raidillon, you're still on throttle for a significant time from La Source through Eau Rouge. Then of course you're back on throttle out of Stavelo all the way to Blanchimont, or even to the bus stop. You have a lot of drafting potential, and then you have what feels like an infield, which I guess you could call an infield, versus the original circuit here, where you turn in at Lacombe through Malmedy and into Bruxelles, Jackie X Corner, Pouan. It almost operates like Daytona's infield, where it separates the field, then you pop back onto the oval, you come out of turn 15, and it's a draft fest again. Then you have, hey, look at that, the bus stop. That kind of bunches the field back up, and then you kind of go back on to the big track again, draft a bunch. La Source kind of breaks things up, but then you go back into Lacombe and you separate the field again. I feel like there's a lot of similarities in how you have to race Spa to also how you have to race Daytona. Of course, completely different circuits, but how you approach the racing at each place I feel like is very similar.
It really is. It's Daytona racing is very different to Spa. Because the drafting is done on the oval, so exits onto the oval and out of chicanes are the most important of that. Here, Spa is timing your attack to gain the time when you need down the Kemmel Straight into Lacombe or through Blanchimont into the bus stop. We've seen some very daring moves last laps into turns 18 and 19 or 19 and 20 in this layout, because turn 1, it's not La Source today, it's Eau Rouge. We'll be starting on the classic layout, so we're going through La Source in the pace lap. So this start, I don't think we're going to be seeing Benjamin Roberts jump away very early, because the pace car enters on the front straightaway with these guys. So I think we might have a very, 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 very tight start to this race, because I have a feeling some of these drivers might forget where the start-finish line actually is. Let's take a look at our points after just finishing at Silverstone, where we just had our last broadcast. The points didn't change that much. Benjamin Roberts, after taking another win, and Silverstone is going to be leading that group. Our Clio drivers, none of our top 5 are in this race, but we do have one in there. Shout out to Larry Love. As we go over to our 8-6, Nicholas Sudik, we heard from his teammate that he has built a rapid fast car today, so he's definitely going to be a favorite for today's race, as he is currently leading by 11 points. And then in our MX-5s, Matthias V. Hokelin is leading the MX-5s with Jack VC right behind him, Michael Folds as well. Per Sandberg in 5th place. That's a name I am very familiar with. Those are your class leaders, as we are looking above our Porsche pace car at our beautiful grid of cars. And look at those Mustangs on the front row. I see a car. It's the same front row as Silverstone, actually. Kevin Parrish and Benjamin Roberts.
Yeah, Ben Roberts on pole, and we're going to let the full grid go by on the bottom of your screen. It's going to go by automatically, and this is by overall qualifying position. So this does not take into account classes, which is worth noting, but we'll let these go on by bottom of your screen. Look out for your favorite driver. I can tell you the pole sitters for each class, well, actually the front row for each class we'll go through: Benjamin Roberts and Kevin Parrish in Mustangs, James Logsdon, there we go, and Jan Willem van Mierlo, that is a mouthful, on front row again in GR86. Down in Mazdas, you've got Fabian Barria and Michael Carpenter on the front row. I do not see Michael Folds, which is a different picture in that class. That Larry Love is your singular Renault Clio here this evening. Race details on the bottom right portion of your screen. It's a 25-minute race, Mustang, Clio, GR86, and MX-5. That matches with your class guide on the right side of your screen. Open setup, one fast repair if needed. In the booth, of course, as I mentioned, Austin Knight joining me for this one. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV, and how about weather conditions for this race, especially since this is the first one of the week? This is important. Give everybody a baseline. It is a cold race in the air, 69.5 degrees Fahrenheit. Clear skies. It is a nice day for racing, and this pace car is hustling through the bus stop, making the Mustangs pretty honest here as they come around.
A concerning gap between first and second place, and yeah, there they are. Look at this Mustang grid that we have. It looks like we got over about 14 Mustangs right now as we head through La Source. Behind this pace car, Benjamin Roberts used to try to do what he did at Silverstone. I don't think he can do that right now. There's contact at the back of the grid right now. Pace car goes off. Benjamin Roberts puts the pedal to the metals. We are green, green, green here at Spa.
Up to Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time, waiting on the Toyota field. They are way back there. Toyota... Wow, I mean, Logsdon really backed these guys up as our Mustangs come over Eau Rouge and Radion for the first time. Everything is clean through the Mustangs. Our Toyotas now approach Eau Rouge at the bottom of the hill, come over Radion at the top, and things are clean there as well. How about our Mazdas?
Well, the Mazdas are right on the tail of the Toyotas. I believe the Toyotas, they just parked, they left a big gap. They were parking it out of the final chicane, just trying to keep that gap up as the Mustangs are flying through Les Combes right now, as everybody is keeping it clean. No instance that we see on track. It's Benjamin Roberts and Kevin Parrish nose to tail right now as we head through Bruxelles. One of my favorite corners on this track. Just holding down that inside line. You kind of want to aim for that curb and keep the car hooked in right there as we head through the old corner that used to have no name.
Yeah, it used to be No Name. I still want to call it No Name. Then Jackie X Corner. I think now it's called Speaker Corner. It's gone through a few different names for once being called No Name. But we've got some great Mazda racing happening in the back while everybody else gets single file. Look at these guys, these Hornets, back here through Bruxelles, side by side, a few different rows deep. That's a big move from Augusto Nielsen, actually getting passed up by Fernando Suarez. Gonna have to get these names right. Daniel Salmon in this, I guess Salmon. I'm not sure. He doesn't look like a fish to me. He's driving a race car, but Salmon gets by Nielsen, and now Nielsen's coming back. Here we go.
bit of understeer through Puon. That's going to be a off track right there. You're going to have to watch that curb on the outside. It's a raised curb, and that curb has caught out a lot of drivers in my days on iRacing. I've seen cars taken to the air by hitting that curb wrong. I've seen Kevin Parrish actually caught out by that curb, and one car goes wide.
That was Perkins.
Yeah, that's Perkins' car right there. Perkins struggling with that setup, and he's going to be taken around to the outside. As Paul Ferrer around the outside right there takes that corner as we head through Blanchemont into the bus stop for the first time. It is still Benjamin Roberts leading out the field as they head into La Source for the first time all day through the Grand Prix start-finish line, but not the finish line.
Lap 1 will be complete, not here at La Source, but when we come around La Source and come by our pit lane. And we are, of course, if we're on the classic pits, that means these guys would enter here if they need the pit lane this evening. I'm sure we'll see a few drivers utilize it in this 25-minute race, but one lap is complete. The field comes on by. This is the better front stretch, in my opinion, but it's hard to call it the front stretch just because we're so conditioned to calling the run between the bus stop and La Source the front stretch. But, I mean, look at this atmosphere. You've got the original stands there on one side and the pit wall on the other. That's hard to beat as everybody comes around to complete lap 1. Here's our Toyotas. Logsdon has fallen back. He's fallen back to the threshold, I suppose, of Nicholas Sudik. So honestly, Jan Willem might be able to start to drive away. And, we talked about...
Sudik's going to get a run here.
Well, sure, and he can start working on it, but we talked about that first rewarding part of Spa, how you can try to get that gap built up in the more road course portion of the lap, the infield feeling portion of the lap. From Lacombe down through Stavolo, if you can build up a gap, it really helps you a ton. Jan Willem did that. Of course, the Kemmel Straight brings everybody back.
Yeah, it's closed up. That front four is all going to be locked in there. None of them are going to be really looking for a move right now. Their main focus is getting that chasing pack away from them. And then later on this race, they're going to start focusing on racing each other. That front four is where they want to be. They're trying to drop the two right behind them, led by Bobman, as they fly through Speaker Corner. And just in the background, I see some Hornets in the air. Those are some MX-5s. Fleeting through the field of the 8.6s.
Yeah, the Mazdas are definitely starting to get through a few. Gerardo Maldonado is the first, it looks like, Toyota to be overtaken. He's running in position number 9 in class, but position 28 overall. Has been overtaken by the top 5 Miatas. And these guys are definitely starting to get racy, but there are some decent gaps between that top 5. These guys, the top 5 or so, I think will race pretty nicely here. I'd imagine if they're in the Mazda class at a place like Spa, they've probably run Miatas here at Spa before. They know how to approach this situation. They know they've still got 20 minutes to go, which is still 8 more laps around this place, even once we take the completion of this second lap of racing. There's plenty of time. They don't have to go too crazy yet. Meanwhile, our race leaders back up to the faux front stretch, we'll say today.
Yeah, the faux front stretch, as it is the Kevin Parrish and Benjamin Roberts show right now, as they are leaving third place behind as they enter La Source. And this is what we're going to be seeing for the Mustangs. It's all going to be a dice game between these two. Well, actually a chess game, not a dice game. Kevin Parrish, we're going to be riding on board of him as we fly.
Well, it might be rolling the dice into Lacombe if you get a big enough run.
Oh, absolutely. Lacombe and the bus stop and La Source. The thing is, though, how much of a dice roll are you going to go, and when is that dice roll going to happen? Because if it doesn't happen right, you're going to be looking like you have a little bit of egg on your face. I want to see what these MX-5 leaders are going to be doing, because they're catching up to Perkins very soon.
Oh, they're on Andrew Perkins. So this is, well, Perkins has fallen back to 8th place in Toyota competition. He's really fallen off. A great run at Silverstone a couple of hours ago. Not so great right now. I'm not sure how the first race at Spa went, but he's definitely struggling.
Do the pass right here. Do not do the pass into that corner. But we are bump drafting a Toyota with a Mazda right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PCC.
And hey, you mentioned it in the Silverstone broadcast. The Mazdas have a higher top speed. The MX-5 will pull on the GR86 in a straight line, and that's what we have a lot of here at Spa, especially the Kemmel Straight. You're seeing that. Miata is able to overtake Toyotas in a straight line.
Corner better than Mazda's. And around the outside, Bavaria takes well, takes the lead of this pack, and now the Toyota is going to be faster than the Mazdas, and look at that. That was the right moment for him to do that, because look where number 1 is, and look where 2, 3, 4, and 5 are. That's a hefty gap right there between the Mazdas right now.
Yeah,
and
Fabian
worked out.
Fabian picked the right time to do that. That was perfect. And he had help from second place Michael Carpenter, who's now been left in the dust as he's trying to go side by side with Perkins here. And now you're stacking up 3 more Miatas right behind. You've got Sean Hayes, Augusto Nielsen, and Fernando Suarez all trying to find their right move to get by this slower Andrew Perkins. Oh my gosh.
Was just overtaken. He can re-overtake right there, and he's allowed to do that. I know some people are to say, well, he's slower than the other cars. He doesn't even have to get the spot back. Not exactly, because the blue flags, we're not F1. We don't get rid of them. If you are the faster car, you are allowed to pass, but it's up for the fast car to overtake safely and cleanly. The 8.6 in that section is faster, so he's totally okay to race.
And you have to consider that he's trying to race back up to Hollis Vanderloo. You know, he's racing Hollis for position. It's not like his race is over, just move over and let these guys have at it. He can't jeopardize his own race unless it starts to be an impeding? What would that be?
Slow him down.
Yeah, unless he starts to properly impede these guys for second on back, he doesn't have to do anything here. He can keep racing.
Absolutely. I know some drivers. Whoa! One car getting a little bit airborne through a trip through Blanchimont onto the grass and into the air, as that got a little bit spicy right there for Augusto Nielsen. Right there, I almost said my name.
Not quite. You know what? It's interesting. Augusto, that's very much a Latin, or I guess in this case, Portuguese first name. Nielsen, very much a Dutch surname.
Yes.
That's certainly a combo there. Because on one hand, I've got a grandma whose last name is Nielsen. So I don't know. That threw me for a loop. But good to see Augusto here, and thankfully, good to see that he's still headed the right direction, because that was scary through Blanchimont that last time, as he now runs back up to Sean Hayes here. Once again, the Kemmel Straight getting interesting. Look at this. Carpenter on the back end of Perkins.
Yeah, and that is a full-on bump draft. Michael Carpenter, not a Toyota, and Andrew Perkins right ahead of him, and he's not going for the pass right here, which is surprising. He's giving Perkins a little bit of a bump, but the car behind him's not waiting one bit. He sends it up onto the inside and retakes second place, but they're still trying to catch up to Fabian, who has pulled off a 1.4 second gap, as we got a move for 4th place here in the Mustangs.
David Fernandez moving on into the 5th spot, and he now follows up Fabian Zweyer, who runs in 4th position. These guys have been doing a lot of fun battling, and this is a really cool kind of clash of new and old. This is the new Ford Performance promotional livery that you saw when the new brand was actually unveiled for Ford Performance on the new Ford Mustang. We don't have the new Ford Mustang yet. We talked about this at Silverstone. Wouldn't it be cool to get the Dark Horse or something like it and be able to really use this kind of livery on a new Mustang on iRacing? That would be pretty darn special, but right now, it still looks fantastic.
I've been reading some specs about the Dark Horse. Apparently, it has the best brakes of any production car out there, which would definitely not make sense to most of the Mustang drivers we have right now, because the current brakes on the Mustang.
It certainly would be useful.
It will certainly be useful. It would also scare us to death.
There we go. And battle for the race lead.
Speaking of scaring a crew member to death, we're going to go side by side heading into El Rouge Radion. This is a dice roll. And Kevin Parrish, well, he rolled higher on that situation and takes the lead of the race. But here comes Benjamin Roberts right now. Gives him a little bump right there, and he's going to be bump drafting. Kevin Parrish just staying on to the right side. Are we in the grill?
We are. This is the perfect spot, I feel like, for a camera. It's not going to get smashed, even though it's a virtual camera, and you still get that great look. Isn't that just the nicest place to put an onboard?
It was the place where I was not expecting a camera to be, but I like it.
Well, it's right down on the splitter, more or less, so this is pretty much the view that you would get right on the bottom of the nose. And I tell you what, if they bump draft, we won't actually go inside the rear of the car. Whoa!
Kevin!
What a slide.
Hello.
We've got problems in the Mustangs. A couple of cars slow back here. They've actually taken to the pit lane. This is Craig Thomas and Zoltan Dame. It looks like in the pits, problems for them. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're missing the few important bits right there. And suspension. I'm going to guess this is up El Rouge Radiod.
Trying to find it. It looks like it's already happened here. This is a look at Zoltan. This is up Eau Rouge, and it seems like it only gets worse for the number 21. Yeah.
Tank slapper and just a little bit of a tap onto the outside.
That's not how you do that.
Yeah, that's how you, well, damage the rear of your car. What has happened to this? This is heading into La Source. Oh, no. It's a little bit too much mustard. And two to go.
That's Craig Thomas out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's his wheel betraying him.
Pick to find time to leave me. Loose wheel. Fight for the lead. Here we go.
It's good harmonizing right there. Kevin Parrish defending onto the inside, and then just slowly comes across the nose of Benjamin as they swap off the lead once again with 12 minutes to go here at Spa. It's Benjamin and Kevin Parrish leading out in the Mustangs. Nicholas Sudik, he's jumped up into second place in the 8.6s, as I believe the 8.6 leaders. Whoa. Yeah, they're clear of the MX-5s. I thought that was an MX-5 in third. No, that was just a paint scheme. But look at our 8.6 leaders. Nicholas Sudik in the middle of all that, but all 1, 2, 3, and 4 in a beautifully organized draft train right now as we are riding on board in third place. Sudik looking onto the outside. Our leaders stay onto the inside. And we're not going to... Do not shoot the moon right there. Do not go 3 wide. He's looking down to the inside of Sudik. Sudik trying to hold it around to the outside. Now Sudik has the inside right now. They're going to be side by side. Sudik getting onto the curb just a little bit as they exit side by side. And here comes Scott Banks giving Sudik a little bit of love and a little bit of a bump right there. And Scott Banks, remember last race, benefited a lot from a incident of the leading pack 8.6s having a giant incident in front of him entering about 10 minutes to go.
And these are the two drivers we would expect to see Scott Banks racing with. Instead, moving over to the GR86s, the Toyotas, and we were theorizing pre-race before we went live about why that might be, possibly for different SOS. We can talk more about that in a moment, but right now the race for the lead is still on between Parrish and Roberts. They just swapped back around at the end of the Kemmel Straight, and they have left everybody else in the Mustangs behind. Here's Fabian Zweyer in third, Cam Porter just behind him, and Fabian's been moving up. He's actually caught and passed Cam Porter in recent laps. You got David Fernandez, David Fench, Dustin Slider back here on the 7th spot, Bruno Abarantes in the 8th position, Rafael Tornich in the 9th spot, Antonio Guarda, a very deep Mustang Dustin! Field, and yeah, glad Dustin hung on to that. This is a tricky place to run a Mustang at. It's every bit of what Spa wants from a race car, the Mustang has nothing to offer, I feel like.
Except horsepower.
Yeah, that's valid. Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, it's the fastest brick that runs here on Spa. It's difficult and very tricky. I remember when the American Muscle Series, we come here in the Mustangs, and I'm gonna be honest, I was just like, I do not belong here. This car does not belong here. I do not know what's going on. As Parrish and Roberts once again.
Oh, Kevin's deep. Oh, apparently just deep enough. That he was coming into that corner real quick. The bus stop, that's a finicky place to try and outbrake somebody. It works out there as we've got fighting for second. Logsdon, Sudik, and Logsdon actually was blinking, it looks like, through campus that time. Gets loose. That Bear Pope, number 11, is getting free a lot, it seems like. Here comes Sudik back on him.
Sudik going to make that pass and get into that draft, and here comes Scott Banks. Is Banks going to go for that pass? Yes, he is. Banks in that draft. He's going to be getting ahead of that car on the inside. Is that? Yeah, he lets him by right now. So Scott Banks sitting in third as they fly through Blanchimont. We saw this last lap where second and third went for a move on each other, which gave the leader just a little bit of space, and that leader still has that space heading through Blanchimont. I think everybody's going to be playing nice with each other right now into the braking zone as they fly in for another lap as we go side by side in the Mustangs.
Roberts outside, Parrish inside.
And Parrish keeps his nose onto the inside, and they stay side by side, and they're still side by side, and they continue to be side by side. And guess what? Spoiler alert, they're still going to be side by side into the next corner.
Down in Bruxelles now, that was important for Parrish to stay on the inside for this corner. He got 2 inside apexes. There we go. And he clears out of Bruxelles into Jackie X. That's why sticking your nose on the inside of Lacombe is oh so important. You're on the inside for 2 apexes in that complex, Lacombe and Malmedy. Then you're still on the inside for Bruxelles if you can hang on. That was brilliant stuff out of the aerokinetics. Mustang now, Roberts trying to fight back. We're into limited territory now. 3 laps to go when we come back around. I know we talk about having plenty of time to go usually. That's not so much the case here. Yes, there's still 7.5 minutes of racing, but you only get 3 more opportunities at each of these really, really important passing zones. So if you aren't able to make it happen in one, guess what? Now you only have 2 more trips around.
Absolutely, and Benjamin Roberts, he now knows that Kevin is going to put his nose onto the inside next time that he tries that, and he knows that he can hold it around there with multiple corners. He held that through 5 different corners to get that move done as we are looking at our MX-5s, and this is Hayes versus, no, that was the battle for third, I believe.
So the first battle we saw there was the battle for the race lead. This is now for third, fourth, and everything else with the Toyota in the mix of Andrew Perkins. So this is Jason Ream and Augusto Nielsen. They were side by side, so we went there for a moment. But Sean Hayes and Fabian Baria. Remember, Fabian, he made that brilliant move a little while ago to take advantage of the traffic situation and take the race lead. Sean Hayes has since run him down and taken over the race lead. So Fabian's got some work to do again from that second spot now, but at the same time, maybe he filled the car a little bit light on fuel here, Austin, and is trying to count on the end of the race, trying to save a little bit, make sure he's got enough. Of course, if you can make the car lighter, you can run faster in a straight line, but you still have to have fuel on the last lap.
And running a light car around here at Spa is very, very risky because half a lap at one track does not equal half a lap here.
There we go, big move. This is up in the Toyotas again. Blanchimont there. Oh, such a tricky place to go side by side or even staggered like that, but they make it work. Now, down to the bus stop. Also a tricky place. Sudik on the outside. Jan Willem stays nice and tidy on the inside. I mean, this is lap after lap, rinse and repeat. They keep doing the same thing. It's brilliant. And back up front, same deal here between our race leaders. Roberts gets back clear of Parrish.
Yeah, Benjamin Roberts retaking the lead with 5 minutes to go. And now Kevin is just going to be, I think Kevin is exactly where he wants to be, on the bumper of Roberts, because the best place that you want to be, it's kind of like racing at Daytona. Oh! Well, no! That is what I like to call a Austinite commentator's curse. I stopped commentating at the start of this year for exact reason of that. I'm sorry, Kevin, please don't kill me.
Well, let's take a look at it. This is Kevin Parrish. Caught the curbing out of 8, maybe? Out of Bruxelles, he shifted the weight and got the curbing at a 9. He was aggressive. That's all that was. He's a race car driver trying to race a race car.
And I said his name in exactly where he wanted to be.
Well, yeah, there's also that.
That's on me.
Another onboard view. Kevin Parrish. We've all done it at some point. Just caught the curbing, and that taller curbing you mentioned earlier really upsets the car if you don't take it just right.
100%. I've done it there so many times, and it's just so easy to do. Oh, he's going to be so upset with himself after that because he's been having such a good race, and he was looking on for the win right now, but sitting in second place. Still ahead of third place, just by a little bit. So we're looking down our stacked Mustang field, and I'm going to tell you the Barber Ford Mustang Club is going to be very happy to see all these Mustangs driving out there. Yeah, some drivers might call it the meme Stang because of how low participation it is. I think we can scoot that name to the side right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, most of the field is Mustangs. In a 32-car field, we have 14 Mustangs. That is the strongest presence of any car in this race, and that has been the case all season long. Glad to be here, thanks to Barber Ford and the Barber Ford Mustang Club. This is the battle for 8th place as they chase down Dustin Slider. I'm not sure if they'll get there, but Bruno Abrantes has this position currently over Antonio Guarda. So a nice little battle here. One of the closest battles we have in Mustangs now that the lead has kind of split apart. Very important to take note of. Further back, position change. Michael Carpenter side by side with Sean Hayes, who has lost the Mazda race lead.
Yep. Race lead has gone to, well, it's just switched over on me. Beria once again, as the Mazdas and the Toyotas are going to be, I'm going to be honest, we're going to be seeing a lot of interchanging. I'm going to be seeing a lot of activity on the forums on Mazdas versus Toyota drivers, and I'm going to be honest, I'm looking forward to it.
This is the kind of organized chaos we want to see.
Welcome to PCC, where we mix cars like we mix ingredients on salads. It just works at times.
I feel like if you were to either... I think if you gave a slight weight penalty to the Toyota, you could have a really cool...
No, Perkins!
Perkins got a bit of contact, but that was all Jason Ream, and that is stacked up Augusto Nielsen. And the one Clio, Larry Love, goes by. As I was trying to say before Jason so rudely interrupted that point, I feel like you could almost stack the Toyota and Mazda against each other in the same class if you just handicapped the Toyota a little bit, so it was a bit more of a dog in the corner, because in the corner it really pulls. On the straightaways, the Mazda pulls.
Are you telling me that I should remove those slick Continental tires and put some road Continental tires on there?
Possibly. That'd be a ton of fun if we get a fight for the Toyota lead, 2x2, organized pace laps, or I guess 100-mile-an-hour pace laps, if you will, into Lacombe. Oh, that was Sudik on the outside, almost lost it.
Oh, I love this. I love this combination of cars. These cars just battle so well. Yes, it's kind of infuriating if you're the top car because you know